To love a woman for a lifetime means you have to love a young girl, a young wife, a busy middle-aged woman, and a chatty old lady. Margaret Town. Zhao Meijing is quite ruthless. She has slaughtered pigs before. During her second year in the army, the entire communication unit held a competition, and her squad came in second place. As a reward, the regiment gave them a live pig weighing 300 catties. The pig squealed for 3 days in the communication squad. Since the entire squad consisted of female soldiers, the female logistics chief couldn't bring herself to slaughter it. The male soldiers from the adjacent unit's kitchen laughed at them every day. In reality, if they had asked, the male kitchen squad leader would have helped slaughter the pig, even washing it thoroughly. However, self-reliance was the motto of the female soldiers unit. Zhao Meijing took the initiative to take up the task of slaughtering the pig. That afternoon, the entire regiment witnessed a pig bleeding profusely while running wildly around the camp, with soldiers from the communications squad shouting and chasing after it. Zhao Meijing tackled the pig to the ground, and several of her comrades quickly joined her, pressing down on her. After an hour of pressing, the pig stopped moving. Later, no matter who mentioned her in the regiment, they referred to her as the one who pressed the pig to death. That year, Zhao Meijing was 19. After that incident, the pigs rewarded by the regiment were already slaughtered and cleaned, and Zhao Meijing never had to slaughter another pig because she was discharged from the army. The year Zhao Meijing returned to her hometown after being discharged happened to coincide with the restructuring of enterprises. Many light and heavy industry enterprises that were already struggling financially closed down, and there were no factories accepting discharged soldiers. The director of the resettlement office at the Civil Affairs Bureau, pulling at his few remaining hairs, pondered for 3 days before finally coming up with a resettlement plan. He cautiously told Zhao Meijing that there were vacancies at the municipal funeral parlor. Since the funeral parlor fell under the jurisdiction of the Civil Affairs Bureau, it would be much more convenient for her to be resettled there. If she agreed, she could report there the next day. If not, she would have to find her own way. The director of the resettlement office braced himself for a barrage of curses, but to his surprise, Zhao Meijing simply said one word, "Okay." The municipal funeral parlor was located on a hill in the outskirts, with 2 buses running to and from the bottom of the hill, one in the morning and one in the evening. Zhao Meijing found it inconvenient and decided to ride her bicycle to work. In the short winter days, it was already pitch dark by the time she finished work. Zhao Meijing spotted a figure drifting back and forth from afar. She pedaled hard, caught up with the figure, and reached out to touch their shoulder, asking, "Where are you going?" "There's still a long way down the hill. Want me to give you a lift?" The figure jumped up in surprise, then sat heavily on the ground, crying, "Wah." It cried for a long time before Zhao Meijing finally lifted them up. The figure took off the mourning clothes, revealing a real man. He stuttered, "My dad passed away. I'm sad. I just want to be alone." Afraid of disturbing his aloneness, Zhao Meijing was about to leave when the man grabbed the rack of her bicycle. "Please give me a ride, I'm scared." The man's name was Lu Wei, an employee of an agricultural products company. Later, he became Zhao Meijing's husband, and then he became her ex-husband. Time is the most relentless tormentor. In the blink of an eye, youth fades away. Zhao Meijing went from being an ordinary worker to becoming the deputy director of the funeral parlor. A man who was competing with her for the position of deputy director was on par with her in all aspects. He said Zhao Meijing was a woman and couldn't work night shifts, whereas he, being a man, could take on night shifts during holidays and contribute more than a woman. Zhao Meijing said, "I can work night shifts, and I can work them every day." On the night shift at the funeral parlor, she worked for 1 night, rested for 2 days. Since becoming the deputy director, Zhao Meijing worked a day shift to handle her duties, worked a night shift to man the reception desk, and took an extra day off to take care of her husband and child. The day Lu Wei asked Zhao Meijing for a divorce happened to be a night shift. Over the phone, Lu Wei listed the reasons for divorce for 2 to 3 hours. After he finished, Zhao Meijing asked only one question, "Is there someone else outside?" Lu Wei's voice suddenly rose, "Absolutely not." Zhao Meijing said calmly, "Then open the door. Before you do, tell her to put on her clothes." Trembling, Lu Wei opened the door, and Zhao Meijing looked calmly at him and the woman behind him. "Let's divorce. Everything in the house belongs to me, and our daughter belongs to herself." That year, their only daughter, Lu Yaino, was 19, in her second year of college. Later, Lu Wei rarely contacted Zhao Meijing, and then Lu Wei remarried. The woman he married wasn't the woman Zhao Meijing had blocked from entering the house. She was a beautiful girl 5 years older than Lu Yaino. On the day of their marriage, Lu Yaino blocked her father on WeChat. Being ruthless is somewhat inherited, to some extent. Even though Zhao Meijing is ruthless, she can't surpass her own mother, Wang Guifin, in ruthlessness. Wang Guifin was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer last year. She stormed into the office of the attending physician and said, "How long do I have left? Give it to me straight. No beating around the bush." After receiving the truth, Wang Guifin started tormenting her daughter every day. She said to Zhao Meijing, "How much money are you planning to give me for treatment? Give it to me now, I want to go on a trip." She said to Lu Yaino, "In the future, when your mom forces you to go on blind dates and to get married, you come and light incense for me, and I'll come and talk to your mom." She forbade Zhao Meijing from placing her and that damned man's ashes together. Even if she turned into ashes herself, she never wanted to see that damned man again. If Zhao Meijing didn't agree, she would leave home now and die outside, so that Zhao Meijing wouldn't even find a trace of her bones. That damned man was Zhao Meijing's biological father, who had passed away over a decade ago. His last act before passing away was to divorce Wang Guifin. Wang Guifin, also a tough girl who had worked in the countryside, returned to the city with Zhao Meijing's father. Zhao Meijing's father liked gentle girls and didn't like Wang Guifin's thunderous speech and straightforwardness. However, the gentle girl he longed for never returned to the city. There were rumors that her family was living in poverty, and she might have spent her whole life in the village. Who would have known that the year Wang Guifin got pregnant with Zhao Meijing, the gentle girl returned. Zhao Meijing's father couldn't abandon Wang Guifin, who was pregnant, but he never slept with her again. In those days, divorce was not an easy matter, so Zhao Meijing's parents maintained their marriage until Zhao Meijing's father retired. On the first day he received his retirement certificate, Zhao Meijing's father made an appointment with Wang Guifin at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Zhao Meijing had seen the gentle woman who had made her father remember her for a lifetime. Naturally, she was more beautiful than Wang Guifin, and she was also a tough character. She had never married in her life just to wait for Zhao Meijing's father. Perhaps fate really didn't approve of this union. A couple who didn't care about worldly views thought that when they were old and retired, nobody could control them anymore, and they could finally be together. However, on the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau, Zhao Meijing's father suddenly fell and never got up again. That woman had no name or status, couldn't handle her husband's affairs after his death, and Wang Guifin hadn't obtained her divorce certificate yet, so she was the rightful heir. Zhao Meijing had her father's ashes stored at the funeral parlor, but since the woman didn't have a family card, she couldn't come to pay her respects. She was willing to pay for a burial plot for Zhao Meijing's father, but Zhao Meijing said, "He's my dad. We have to wait for my mom to be buried together after 100 years. This was originally said in anger, but Wang Guifin took it seriously. She would occasionally bring up the resolute refusal to be buried with her husband. Zhao Meijing would brush it off, always thinking that it was something that would happen far, far in the future. However, unexpectedly, in just over a decade, Wang Guifin was also nearing death. "Zhao Meijing, accompany me to the notary office tomorrow. I heard that a will can be notarized, and then no one else can change it after I'm gone." In the middle of the night, the funeral hall was still noisy, but Zhao Meijing could barely hear Wang Guifin's voice through her phone. "Who told you that?" Zhao Meijing was impatient. "Then don't worry about it, Zhao Meijing. If you don't come, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off." Wang Guifin's voice abruptly stopped, and Zhao Meijing sighed deeply, turning her head to look at the noisy office. Some people were crying, some were causing a scene. She couldn't understand why. When people were gone, there was still so much noise. So she shouted, "Quiet down." This shout reverberated through the office's PA system, and Zhao Meijing took a deep breath and calmed down a lot. "Who's here for business?" A man with a crew cut, looking somewhat timid, walked up to the window. His face was pale, his eyes were red, and he looked haggard, but there wasn't a single wrinkle on his face. Zhao Meijing understood. When the white-haired person sends off the black-haired person, it's a tragedy. When the child wants to support the parent, but the parent isn't there, it's also a tragedy. In the funeral parlor, these two tragedies alternated, and for a moment, she couldn't tell which one was more tragic. She looked at the man, her gaze much softer. "What do you need?" I want to store my father's ashes." The man's voice was low, with a slight tremble. "Xiaolong, why don't you listen?" A middle-aged woman next to the man pushed him hard, causing him to stumble. "I'm your second aunt. Your dad is my real brother. Our Jiang family has ancestral graves. What's the matter with you storing the ashes here? You're preventing your dad from resting in peace. You're asking for trouble. Long. Don't listen to them. They're just causing trouble." Another woman standing on the other side of the man also pushed him fiercely. "Your dad is gone, but your mom is still here. Your mom has long said that if your dad doesn't enter the ancestral grave of their Jiang family, will you still let them be buried separately after 100 years? Don't mention your mom. Even as your third aunt, I don't agree. Don't listen to your third aunt's nonsense. What does she have to do with this? If it weren't for your mom always arguing with your dad wouldn't have died so early. My poor brother." The second aunt burst into tears. "Can you blame your wife for a man's short life?" The third aunt couldn't stand it anymore and shouted, "Your brother had a bad temper, always beating his wife and scolding his children. Now that God has finally taken him, it's because of your family's instigation. Could they quarrel every day without you provoking them? What's next? Do you still want to wait for my sister to die, bury her in your family's ancestral grave, and then let you bully them? Who said she could enter the ancestral grave? She's not worthy. Do you want to separate the couple? You couldn't cause trouble while they were alive, and now that they're dead, you want to cause trouble. Long. You can't listen to them." The two women's voices grew louder and louder, gradually turning into a quarrel between two families, and everyone was pushing the young man. "Stop arguing." Zhao Meijing's anger rose, and she shouted with the commanding voice she used in the military. The volume of the PA system was turned up to the maximum, and the harsh electronic sound made everyone in the room shut their mouths. "Security, let the people handling the business stay, and get rid of the irrelevant people." Zhao Meijing's voice echoed in the office. "Hey, what's with your attitude?" The second aunt was not happy, pointing at Zhao Meijing. "I'll complain about you." The security guard stepped forward to block her, indicating that she should leave as soon as possible. Zhao Meijing pointed to the complaint phone number on the wall, looking indifferent. The office finally quieted down. Zhao Meijing took the documents from the young man and saw his ID card on top. Jiang Yulong, 23 years old. Zhao Meijing bit her lip and turned to look at the young man's pale face, which was devoid of any color. She couldn't help but soften her voice. "Isn't the cremation scheduled for tomorrow? How about you think about it again?" Jiang Yulong clumsily took back all the documents from the window and turned to walk away, but after just 2 steps, his body suddenly swayed. Perhaps afraid of falling, he slowly squatted down. Zhao Meijing quickly jumped off the counter, and the security guard also rushed over to check on him, but Zhao Meijing had already embraced Jiang Yulong's shoulders. "Are you okay? Young man, you're a man. You have to hold on now. There are many things relying on you. You have to grieve." As the words left her mouth, she realized that the man, who had just been expressionless, was now sobbing uncontrollably, tears streaming down his face. I don't have a dad anymore." He suddenly buried himself in Zhao Meijing's arms, sobbing bitterly. In the silent office, the man's cries echoed for a long time. Zhao Meijing gently patted Jiang Yulong's back, inexplicably thinking of her own daughter. They were still just children. As Zhao Meijing walked out of the funeral parlor with dark circles under her eyes, the first wisp of smoke had already risen from the chimney on the hilltop. Zhao Meijing felt like she was seeing a ghost in broad daylight when her ex-husband, Lu Wei, stood in front of her electric bike as if he were playing dead. Who died? Zhao Meijing's mouth moved faster than her brain. Since the words had already come out, she could only ignore Lu Wei's dark expression. "You look thinner," Lu Wei awkwardly commented. Do you have something to tell me? Zhao Meijing's eyelids were heavy with exhaustion, and she didn't want to waste time with him. I can't come to see you for no reason, Lu Wei said with a sheepish smile. You came to the funeral parlor to see me? Zhao Meijing smiled helplessly. I'm off work now. Can you move? You're blocking my bike. I'll drive you. Lu Wei smiled. You haven't had breakfast yet, right? I haven't either. Let's find somewhere to eat, and then I'll take you home. Then how am I going to work the day after tomorrow? Zhao Meijing was not appreciative, and she raised her hand to push Lu Wei away. I'm free the day after tomorrow. I can take you. Lu Wei hurriedly said. Zhao Meijing stopped her hand. Lu Wei, you. When things are out of the ordinary, there must be something amiss. Zhao Meijing thought for a long time, unable to figure out what Lu Wei wanted to do, so she asked with disbelief, Are you terminally ill? Lu Wei's face grew even darker, wanting to be angry but unable to, so he could only look at Zhao Meijing helplessly. I just wanted to see you. Zhao Meijing nodded and said, You've seen me, now go back. As she spoke, she tried to push Lu Wei away again, but he grabbed her wrist. I'll still take you. Lu Wei's voice was sincere. Zhao Meijing almost thought she had misheard, unable to figure out how to refuse. A hand with clearly visible veins grabbed Lu Wei's wrist, and in the surprise of both parties, forcibly pulled Lu Wei's hand away. It's you. Zhao Meijing unexpectedly saw the owner of that hand glaring angrily at Lu Wei. Please don't harass her. Jiang Yulong's voice was still deep, with a hint of hoarseness. Who are you? Lu Wei looked back at Jiang Yulong. If this were a slightly weathered face, he could guess it was Zhao Meijing's current partner, but this face was too young. Who I am is not important. You can't harass others. Can't you see that she doesn't want to talk to you? Jiang Yulong said, forcefully shaking off Lu Wei and looking at Zhao Meijing. I'll take you down the mountain. I have a car. What are you two doing here? Zhao Meijing struggled to push away the two men. Watching the woman's electric bike disappear into the distance, Lu Wei looked at Jiang Yulong with confusion all over his face. Who are you? What's your relationship with her? Jiang Yulong was half a head taller than Lu Wei, looking down at him and not saying a word before turning to leave. Hey, who is this guy? Lu Wei was left stranded in place. Zhao Meijing couldn't figure out why her ex-husband was playing dead, and she didn't have the energy to think about it because Mrs. Wang Guifin was already sitting in front of the city notary office, waiting for her for half an hour. Mrs. Wang was a proper high school student from their era, quite educated. After retiring, she started learning computers, but her typing speed couldn't compare to an average person's. She printed out a will for herself, clearly stating that all her belongings would go to Zhao Meijing after her death, on the condition that Zhao Meijing promised not to be buried with her and Mr. Zhao, otherwise Zhao Meijing would have to give up her inheritance. Watching the old lady who had just returned from sunbathing in the Tian Shan Mountains in Xinjiang, Zhao Meijing couldn't help but laugh and cry. Does your inheritance include the 2,000 yuan I gave you last month? Zhao Meijing accompanied the old lady, handing her a thermos cup as they sat in front of the window of the notary office. I still have a house, Wang Guifin asserted. I was born in that house, right? It's been over 40 years, and the old house hasn't collapsed, which is already giving you face. How can you still expect it to be passed down? Zhao Meijing retorted with a smile. Wang Guifin bit her lip. I'm not giving you any of my gold. Oh, so you have gold too? Zhao Meijing teased with a smirk. I've been saying you have a safe deposit box in the bank, and you wouldn't admit it. Now you're exposed, huh? Don't worry, no matter how much, when that day comes, I can put it in the same box as you. You little brat. Wang Guifin raised her hand and splashed the hot water from the thermos cup all over Zhao Meijing, not even sparing the reception desk of the notary office. It was supposed to be a joke, but Zhao Meijing didn't expect the old lady's temper to be even more fiery than before she fell ill. The staff behind the window couldn't bear to watch and advised in a low voice, Auntie, your notarization has no meaning because there's no claimant. Can you still control what happens after you pass away? If your daughter doesn't follow your instructions, can you come back to her? Who will claim your inheritance for you then? I won't let her off even if I become a ghost. Wang Guifin stood up and walked away after saying that. Zhao Meijing wiped the water off her face fiercely, embarrassedly smiling at the onlookers. She had wanted to say something, but she couldn't find the right words. Suddenly, her phone rang, relieving the awkwardness in front of her. Hello. Her daughter, Lu Yino's voice came from the phone. Mom, you haven't forgotten, right? I sent you the address of the restaurant. Oh, I haven't forgotten. Don't worry. Zhao Meijing had actually forgotten that her daughter and her boyfriend were going to treat her to dinner today. I need to tidy myself up a bit. I can't embarrass you. Her daughter's laughter was the most pleasant sound in the world. Zhao Meijing hung up the phone, the water on her face dried, and the previous embarrassment seemed less important. From ancient times to the present, a mother meeting her son-in-law was always a big deal. Zhao Meijing had gone to the hair salon and beauty salon, and half a day had passed. She had bought new clothes early in the morning, and she even paid someone to do light makeup for her. Looking at herself in the mirror, Zhao Meijing had a moment of absent-mindedness. She remembered the day she married Lu Wei, and he held her face, which she had carefully dressed up, and said, "You look beautiful." Lu Yino was in her first year of graduate school, excelling academically and often referred to as the child of other people's families since childhood. During her 4 years of university, Lu Yino didn't have a boyfriend, which made Zhao Meijing feel uneasy. Several times, she wanted to ask her daughter if her disbelief in love was because she saw Zhao Meijing and Lu Wei separate. But she didn't have the courage to ask because if the answer was affirmative, she feared she wouldn't be able to bear it. As they entered the restaurant, Zhao Meijing nervously checked her makeup in the floor-to-ceiling window. A well-dressed man in a suit approached her, saying, "Hello, this way, please." Zhao Meijing didn't expect the restaurant to be managed with such care, with the manager personally greeting guests. She was pleasantly surprised as she was led to Lu Yino's table and couldn't maintain her composure. She hurriedly embraced her daughter, and Lu Yino hugged her back tightly. "Oh, it's been so long since we last met." Zhao Meijing finally let go after a while, looking Lu Yino up and down, noticing she was just wearing ordinary clothes. Lu Yino also couldn't believe it as she looked at her mother. "Oh, Mom, you're so overdressed. Are you trying to scare people away? If you want to know what your future mother-in-law will look like when she's old, you have to look at the current mother-in-law first." Zhao Meijing whispered to her daughter, "All of this is for you." Then she looked around jokingly. "Huh? Still not here? Late for the first meeting. Doesn't he respect his future mother-in-law?" Lu Yino knew her mother was joking and played along, saying, maybe he saw his future mother-in-law from afar and was too scared to come near. "Mom, you owe me a boyfriend." Zhao Meijing chuckled and poked her daughter's forehead, then noticed the manager who had brought her over was still standing nearby. "Excuse me, could we see the menu?" Zhao Meijing said as she sat down with her daughter. "What does he like to eat? Any dietary restrictions?" Lu Yino couldn't help but laugh, covering her stomach and pointing at the man. "Mom, sit down first. Old Wu, you too. Let's order some food. Whatever you order, my mom will definitely like it." Lu Yino said, wiping her mother's hands with a wet towel. "Auntie, you look really young. Being with Yino makes you look like sisters." Wu Jian smiled and said. Zhao Meijing pursed her lips, trying hard to maintain her smile. The dishes were rich and exquisitely presented, but Zhao Meijing found them tasteless. Throughout the meal, Lu Yino was the only one speaking. She praised the food at the restaurant, mentioning that it was owned by Wu Jian, who also owned 4 other restaurants of similar scale. Running restaurants was his hobby, and he was somewhat of a celebrity in the industry. He had written books on culinary arts, served as a judge for cooking competitions, appeared on interview programs, and even gave lectures at Lu Yino's school. Lu Yino had been a staff member at that event, responsible for guiding, and that's how they had met. "Mr. Wu, may I ask how old you are?" Zhao Meijing finally spoke up while her daughter was in the restroom. "I'm 38 years old." Wu Jian's face turned slightly red. "Auntie, you can just call me by my name. No need to be formal." "At 38 and still unmarried, you must be very career-oriented," Zhao Meijing said calmly. "I've been divorced for 2 years." Wu Jian looked directly at Zhao Meijing. "I also have a 6-year-old son and custody belongs to my ex-wife." Zhao Meijing felt as if someone had plunged an iron spike into her head, and thunder rolled over her. Mr. Little Wu, you are very outstanding. She tried to keep her tone steady. We are just an ordinary family, and our Yaino is just an ordinary child, so I think you two are not suitable. Auntie, I know you care about our age difference and my divorce, but Yaino and I are serious about our relationship with marriage as the premise. Wu Jian's tone was sincere. Can you give me a chance to take care of Yaino? I promise I won't let you down.
No.
Zhao Meijing put down her chopsticks and stared into Wu Jian's eyes. We're only a few years apart, and I can accept being called auntie by you. But there's a difference of more than 10 years between you and Yaino. What does a 10-year difference mean? When you're in your prime, she's just a cell. Children don't understand things, but as an adult, don't you understand? With your social status, how do you think others will see Yaino? She's still a child. Should she be a stepmother to another child? Is being a stepmother that easy? Have you ever thought about Yaino? If you have, then you shouldn't be together, and if you haven't, then your love is too selfish. Zhao Meijing became angrier as she spoke, until Wu Jian looked behind her, and Zhao Meijing realized her daughter had returned. Mom, if you don't agree, why don't you say it to my face? Lu Yaino's face was as cold as water. Zhao Meijing sighed deeply and forced a smile. Xiao Wu, I'm sorry, I'm too tired. Thank you for your hospitality, Yaino, and I will leave first. With that, she stood up to pull her daughter away, but her daughter violently shook her hand off. Mom, I never expected you to bless us anyway. Lu Yaino looked at her mother coldly. But why do you look down on Wu Jian? He's been divorced, has a child, but aren't you also divorced with a child? You think he's too old, but aren't you the same age as my dad? Did age have anything to do with whether your marriage was happy? Does it matter how much older he is compared to me for my well-being? Yaino, let's talk at home. Zhao Meijing reached out again to pull her daughter. I'll explain it to you slowly at home. Lu Yaino shook off her mother's hand again. I'm going back to school now. I'm busy with experiments lately, so I won't be going home. Zhao Meijing stared at Lu Yaino in surprise, but her daughter avoided her gaze. Zhao Meijing then turned her head to glare fiercely at Wu Jian, who humbly lowered his head. She noticed the onlookers, some even discreetly holding up their phones. She had spent the entire day under the scrutiny of others, and with a bitter smile, Zhao Meijing walked out of the restaurant step by step. These past few days have been chaotic for Zhao Meijing. Wang Guifen's phone was unreachable, and she wasn't at home. The last time the old lady stormed out in anger like this was when she secretly went to see the Crescent Spring. While Zhao Meijing couldn't find her mother, she also sent dozens of messages to her daughter, but received no reply, adding to the record of Lu Yaino not responding to messages. The people who should appear didn't show up, while those who shouldn't kept playing dead every day. Lu Wei did come to pick up Zhao Meijing for work, a treatment she hadn't enjoyed when they were together. They even had a cup of coffee together, and Lu Wei looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, saying things that made Zhao Meijing doubt if she had ascended to heaven. Lu Wei, what exactly do you want from me? Everything was a mess, and Zhao Meijing had no mood to reminisce about the past. Lu Wei's face reddened slightly. I really just came to see that you're doing well. I can relax then. Meijing, after all these years together, even though we're not spouses, can't we still be friends? Zhao Meijing had intended to retort with, which eye of yours sees me doing well, but suddenly heard the word friend. She almost thought she had misheard it. She was extremely familiar with that phrase. It was what she had said to Lu Wei during their divorce, but at that time, Lu Wei had firmly said it wasn't necessary. Tomorrow is your birthday. Lu Wei said, I know you don't have many friends, your mother. The old lady hasn't remembered it for years. Yaino is busy with school, so how about it? Shall I accompany you for your birthday? Lu Wei, did you come to see me? Does your wife know? Zhao Meijing never believed in rekindling old flames. Seeing the man's embarrassed expression, she rolled her eyes internally. After Yaino was born, I stopped celebrating my birthday, didn't you know? Zhao Meijing also didn't expect to spend her 45th birthday in the hospital. Wang Guifen participated in a mountain climbing activity for seniors and ended up fainting halfway up the mountain. The doctor told Zhao Meijing that Wang Guifen's condition was worsening and her time was running out, so her family needed to prepare themselves mentally. When Lu Wei rushed to the hospital carrying a cake, Wang Guifen had just used all her strength to express her determination not to die and then fell into a deep sleep under the influence of medication. Lu Wei lit the birthday candles on a bench in the hospital corridor and smiled. "We won't sing the birthday song here. Make a wish, and let's blow out the candles." Watching the flickering candlelight, Zhao Meijing suddenly remembered that the first birthday she celebrated with Lu Wei after they became a couple was in a funeral home. Lu's family looked down on her job and didn't allow their son to marry such a woman. Zhao Meijing also said that if Lu Wei chose to break up, she would understand. As a result, Lu Wei brought a birthday cake to the funeral home's office. He said to Zhao Meijing, "Can you grant me a wish? I want to marry Zhao Meijing. I can also use my own birthday wish, but I can't wait." At that time, Zhao Meijing felt that their love story was like a convoluted romance novel, where the protagonists defied the world for love, tragic yet romantic. Make a wish. Lu Wei's urging brought Zhao Meijing back to reality. 20 years of shared joys and sorrows, they did have an emotional bond. Zhao Meijing finally smiled, placing her hands over her heart. She had too many wishes. She wanted Wang Guifen to recover. She wanted Lu Yaino to live a safe and happy life. She wanted her salary to increase by 2 levels so she could save more money for Wang Guifen's treatment and as dowry for Lu Yaino. Suddenly, Zhao Meijing realized that her wishes didn't include herself. So she wished for herself to live a healthier life and not cause trouble for Lu Yaino. Her wishes also didn't include Lu Wei. Wasn't that a bit unfair to him? Zhao Meijing hesitated. Zhao Meijing's contemplations were interrupted by the ringing of a cell phone, prompting Lu Wei to hastily retreat to the end of the corridor to answer the call with a serious expression. Sensing that something important was happening, Zhao Meijing began to feel uneasy. "In a hospital, and you dare to light candles in the corridor?" The nurse's voice preceded her arrival, reprimanding the situation. Without lifting her head, Zhao Meijing apologized while extinguishing the candles, completely forgetting that she hadn't made a single wish. Meijing. With the candles extinguished, Lu Wei returned, squatting in front of her with an expression of palpable concern. "There's something urgent I need your help with." Immediately, Zhao Meijing looked at Lu Wei with a sense of apprehension. My grandmother just passed away, and she had a wish before Lu Wei hesitated, glancing at Zhao Meijing. "Could you please help me obtain a cremation certificate?" Instantly understanding that Lu Wei wanted her to falsify a cremation certificate, it took Zhao Meijing a moment to realize whose grandmother had passed away. About life and death, some people never truly understand it in their lifetime, so there are always some elderly people who do not want to be cremated. However, without a cremation certificate, the household registration cannot be revoked, and many other matters cannot be handled. There is only one funeral home in the whole city, and Zhao Meijing encounters dozens of requests like this every year, but she has never done anything like falsifying a cremation certificate. The old lady held on just to wait for you to settle things. Zhao Meijing almost couldn't hear her own voice. "Lu Wei, you don't know, she's been nagging me, and I really couldn't refuse." "It's impossible." Zhao Meijing refused decisively. You. Anger surged on Lu Wei's face. "If you still have a grudge against me, just let it out. But don't be so antagonistic, okay? This is not a big deal. For someone like us, this is not a big deal. What else could be a big deal?" Zhao Meijing said, realizing she was laughing amidst her words. She wasn't laughing at Lu Wei for using these tricks. She was laughing at herself for being so naive at her age. She laughed at the sense of gratitude she felt just now. However, this laughter seemed like a malicious mockery in Lu Wei's eyes. "Zhao Meijing, I never expected you to be this kind of person." With a wave of his hand, Lu Wei overturned the cake on the bench and left. The birthday cake, originally small, had been smashed into a large mess, leaving Zhao Meijing at a loss. It wasn't until she heard the nurse's voice saying, "Who did this? Clean it up quickly," that Zhao Meijing snapped out of it, but the chaotic scene on the floor left her unsure of where to begin. Suddenly, a pair of large hands appeared, carrying 2 pieces of cardboard, gently sweeping away the mess on the floor, while a cleaner swiftly cleaned up the remaining traces with a mop and cart. "Auntie, let me do it," said a deep voice from the man. "It's okay, Dr. Xiaojiang, your method is still the best." The cleaner efficiently tidied up and pushed the cleaning cart away. "Nice to see you again." Zhang Yulong looked at Zhao Meijing. Only then did Zhao Meijing realize that the doctor in front of her was the same man who had been at a loss for words and in tears that day. She struggled to recall the man's name. "Jiang, thank you," she said, feeling deflated as she sat down on the bench. Zhang Yulong hesitated for a moment, then sat down beside Zhao Meijing. "I've stored my father's ashes. I asked my mother, and she said she wanted to be with my father. They are husband and wife, so their wishes are the most important." Zhao Meijing turned her head to look at the man's immature face and took a while before responding, "You did the right thing." Zhang Yulong looked down at the spot where the cake had just been smashed. "I didn't mean to check your mother's medical records. I just came to intern in the department, and I have to look at all the medical records." The old lady. Zhang Yulong couldn't continue. Zhao Meijing sighed softly. "I'm prepared, and so is my mother. I heard her scolding you just now, saying you were unfilial." Zhang Yulong said frankly, "Don't be sad, it's her fault." Zhao Meijing chuckled softly. "You just said it's about the wishes of husband and wife. Their wishes are the most important. In fact, there could be other ways." Zhang Yulong said seriously, "I have a classmate whose family had a similar situation. They put a pair of chopsticks between 2 boxes of ashes and buried them together in the same grave." Zhang Yulong's voice grew quieter, realizing that Zhao Meijing probably knew more about this kind of thing than he did. Sure enough, Zhao Meijing smiled wryly. "I'm best at deceiving the old lady with the sun while following her wishes in secret. If I even try to deceive her about this, she won't let me off even if she becomes a ghost." Zhang Yulong wanted to say a few words of comfort again. He turned to Zhao Meijing and saw her self-deprecating smile, so he smiled along with her. "I'm Zhang Yulong, and you?"
I'm Zhao Meijing.
"Can I add you on WeChat?" "I don't mean anything else, I just..." "Sure." Zhao Meijing swiftly signed on a stack of documents. Aside from her regular duties, there was always plenty of administrative work at the funeral home. Even when sitting in the office, Zhao Meijing's hands were not idle, but it was her mind that was busier. Wang Guifen's condition was unstable, yet she insisted on being discharged. While accompanying her in the hospital, Zhao Meijing sent a message to her daughter, informing her that her grandmother might not hold on for much longer and that she should prepare herself mentally. Finally, Lu Yaino responded, "Can I bring Lao Wu to see Grandma?" Zhao Meijing's pent-up anger finally erupted, and she sent a voice message directly to her daughter. "If you want to infuriate Grandma, then bring someone along." After that voice message, Lu Yaino never responded again, but she did manage to wake up Wang Guifen. "Is Nono's partner coming?" Wang Guifen's voice was weak. "Let him come. I'd like to see him before I close my eyes." "I'm afraid you won't be able to close your eyes after seeing him," Zhao Meijing retorted softly. "Why? Is he not a good man?" Wang Guifen joked. "Jingjing, let her choose her own partner. We shouldn't worry about it." "Mom, aren't you afraid that a bad man might deceive Nono?" Zhao Meijing asked. "Of course, I am," Wang Guifen replied weakly, closing her eyes. "I was afraid that a bad man would bully my daughter. After careful consideration, I chose Lu Wei, hoping that Jingjing wouldn't suffer as I did and could live a good life. But Lu Wei turned out to be a scoundrel too. I realized that your pain is your pain and mine is mine. We can only bear our own pain. I can't bear yours, and you can't bear mine. We can't bear Nono's pain either." Zhao Meijing held her mother's hand and took a while before saying, "I don't want Nono to suffer." With chaos at home, Zhao Meijing felt a headache coming on. She took a deep breath, got up from her desk, stretched her stiff muscles, and walked over to the window. The funeral home's backyard had 3 funeral halls where crying could be heard year-round, with hearses shuttling back and forth. Having witnessed this scene for over 20 years, Zhao Meijing had become numb to the sounds of grief. As the hearse drove away with a coffin, Zhao Meijing left her water glass and rushed back. While the ancestors passed away, the parents were heartbroken and the grandchildren were sad, but in terms of sorrow, it often did not compare to that of the parents. There were exceptions, like Lu Wei's young wife, Sun Qi, who walked behind the hearse, crying uncontrollably. Lu Wei held her tightly, preventing her from falling. "Stop the car." Zhao Meijing's voice was piercing. Lu Wei was startled, but he didn't care about his young wife, reaching out to stop his ex-wife who was running out of breath. "Zhao Meijing, what are you doing?" Ignoring him, Zhao Meijing blocked him and ran straight to the hearse. "Stop the car." The mournful music playing in the hearse gradually stopped, and the car came to a halt. The people bidding farewell looked at Zhao Meijing inexplicably. "Have you had enough trouble?" Lu Wei angrily confronted Zhao Meijing. "Show some respect to the deceased. Interrupting our ceremony, what are you trying to do?" Zhao Meijing glared at Lu Wei and then turned to Sun Qi. "I'm sorry, this family member, please cooperate." Then she turned to the hearse. "Open the door." "Zhao Meijing, what are you doing?" Before Lu Wei could speak, Sun Qi screamed, "Our divorce wasn't because of me. I didn't offend you. My grandmother passed away. Can't you let her complete this journey smoothly?" The driver stepped down from the hearse, looking somewhat embarrassed as he glanced at Zhao Meijing. "Director Zhao, what's going on? What did we do wrong?" Zhao Meijing looked at the driver, who lowered his head guiltily. It was clear that he knew why Zhao Meijing had stopped the hearse. "Lu Wei, I'll give you one chance." Zhao Meijing completely ignored Sun Qi. "Now you guys take the car back. Do what you're supposed to do, and I'll pretend nothing happened." Lu Wei suddenly grabbed Zhao Meijing and shouted to the driver, "It's none of your business. Drive quickly, drive." Just as Zhao Meijing was about to shake off Lu Wei, Sun Qi also rushed over, and the two of them tightly held onto Zhao Meijing. The driver avoided Zhao Meijing's gaze and hurried back to the driver's seat. The hearse was about to move when Zhao Meijing pushed Sun Qi away with one hand, freeing her hand to forcefully throw Lu Wei over her shoulder, knocking him to the ground. Everything happened too fast. Lu Wei hadn't even realized what had happened before the world seemed to turn upside down before his eyes. In this inverted world, his ex-wife leaped onto the hearse, reached through the driver's window to remove the key, forcefully opened the car door, and pulled out the coffin. Her strength was insufficient, and the coffin fell from the car, its loosely covered lid revealing an empty interior. Several elderly relatives surrounded Zhao Meijing, speaking excitedly. One of the men even slapped Zhao Meijing. Lu Wei helplessly closed his eyes. From the moment he heard Zhao Meijing's voice, he knew this was the outcome. Having worked here for 20 years, Zhao Meijing was all too familiar with everything here, so she could instantly see through the deception. In this era of social media, the city funeral home couldn't keep the fake cremation certificate hidden. Before noon, the police took away everyone involved. When Zhao Meijing left the police station, her phone was flooded with messages and missed calls. The messages were from Jiang Yulong, informing Zhao Meijing that Wang Guifen's condition was not good and hoping that family members could arrive as soon as possible. The hospital had tried to call Zhao Meijing several times but couldn't reach her. Standing at the door of the ward were Lu Yaino and Wu Jian. Zhao Meijing didn't even look at them, rushing straight into the ward, almost colliding with Jiang Yulong. The room was crowded with doctors attending the consultation. The head of the department turned back upon hearing the commotion, and Zhao Meijing instantly understood his gaze. She felt her strength drain away, almost collapsing. Jiang Yulong hurriedly supported her. Wang Guifen's end was approaching. Zhao Meijing stayed by her bedside, not daring to take a step away. Lu Yaino brought Wu Jian along, and Wang Guifen glanced at Wu Jian but didn't smile, get angry, or say anything. At night, Wang Guifan asked for water, drank it, and then fell asleep. Zhao Meijing also dared not sleep, staying by her mother's side and talking to her. "I've closed the safe deposit box at the bank." Wang Guifan's voice was very soft, almost inaudible if not for the quiet night. "I've put all the gold jewelry in the bedside table at home. You pick the one you dislike the most and give it to Nono. Consider it as my dowry for her. The cash is underneath the jewelry. I've withdrawn all the money, both what you gave me and what I had myself. Remember, no matter how filial children are, you still need to keep your money close to you." Zhao Meijing smiled helplessly. "Nono always thought you didn't care about me, but you cared about her the most." Wang Guifan also smiled. "I don't care about you. You never listened to me since you were little, always giving me headaches." Later, When I saw Nono upset you, I thought, maybe this child is here to avenge me. As the night deepened, Wang Guifan closed her eyes tiredly, but her mouth continued to murmur, Jingjing, you've been arguing with me since you were little, saying I treated you badly. Actually, I've always wanted to apologize to you. When you were born, your father's heart wasn't with our family. I was so sad that I cried alone. I often wondered if you were a boy, would he change his mind for your sake? My daughter, I shouldn't have thought like that.
I'm sorry.
Zhao Meijing looked up, watching as a wisp of smoke rose from the tall chimney. Even as Wang Guifan closed her eyes, Zhao Meijing still clung to her determination not to be buried with her husband. In Zhao Meijing's eyes, her persistence in resentment might also signify an unwavering love. Truly letting go of someone should be like her relationship with Lu Wei, not blaming, not clinging. Perhaps Lu Wei had started blaming her again these past few days. The social impact of the fake cremation incident was significant, and those involved had all received varying degrees of administrative punishment. Lu Wei and Sun Qi were forced to resign. Jiang Yulong didn't intentionally attend Wang Guifan's farewell ceremony. Today was the 5th 7 for his father. Seeing Zhao Meijing dressed in mourning attire, he felt like Zhao Meijing did when she saw him last month. The difference was that there weren't many people from the Zhao family coming to offer condolences, and there were no relatives and friends meddling. Everything was under Zhao Meijing's command, so she didn't have time to cry. You have my condolences, Jiang Yulong whispered. Zhao Meijing continued to gaze at the wisp of smoke for a long time before saying, this illness is very painful. For her, it's also a relief. The relationship between parents and children is one of bidding farewell from the moment they meet, but I never thought this farewell would be so short. Jiang Yulong looked at the weary face of the woman. She wasn't as strong as she appeared on the surface. Her hand, tucked in her pocket, was still trembling slightly, as if trying to suppress immense sadness. Feeling the pain of losing a parent, Jiang Yulong empathized, but he didn't know how to comfort the woman's grief. My father died suddenly of a heart attack. He called me the night before, asking me to help him make an appointment with the specialist at our hospital, but the next day, he died in the ambulance, Jiang Yulong said with sorrow. He didn't even have time to leave a last word for me. He left something behind. Zhao Meijing knew he was trying to console her with his own experience, but the grief of adults was always something they had to digest alone. You are the most precious legacy he left behind. Jiang Yulong was moved, about to say something more, when he heard a voice. Lu Yino came running, crying, Mom, they asked us to. Both Zhao Meijing and Jiang Yulong understood. Personally arranging the ashes was the final journey family members took to bid farewell to their loved ones. Zhao Meijing reached out and grabbed her daughter's hand. Let's go together. Mom, why are your hands so cold? Lu Yino finally noticed her mother's pale face. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
It's windy here, so. Zhao Meijing said, continuing to walk forward. However, everything in front of her became increasingly blurry. She heard her daughter calling out to her, wanting to respond, but she couldn't open her mouth no matter how hard she tried. It seemed like a long dream. Zhao Meijing saw Wang Guifan when she was young. Wang Guifan was apologizing to the neighbors, pulling a sobbing Zhao Meijing along because Zhao Meijing had accidentally injured the neighbor's little boy, breaking his head. The boy's parents said many harsh words, and Zhao Meijing's eyes were full of defiance. But Wang Guifan didn't argue back with a single word, waiting until the family slammed the door shut. Wang Guifan pulled her daughter back. He talked about me first. Zhao Meijing still protested. What did he say about me? Wang Guifan's patience with her daughter was wearing thin. He said my dad had a mistress. Zhao Meijing said stubbornly. He said my dad was shameless, and he said I was too. Wang Guifan stopped in her tracks, locking eyes with her daughter. Wang Guifan gritted her teeth and forced a smile. He's talking nonsense. Your dad doesn't have money, so how could he afford one? With that, she grabbed her daughter's hand and continued walking. That's why I punched him. Zhao Meijing became even more defiant. What did you use to hit him? I just picked up a small stone. Who knew he couldn't take a punch and went crying to the teacher? He's really not a man. Next time, use a brick. Mom, I won't hit him again. He can't take it. After that incident, Zhao Meijing never got into fights again. She saw her mother wipe away her tears, but she didn't say anything. Until before joining the military, she thought Wang Guifan cried because of her fights. Zhao Meijing spent 3 days in the hospital, clearly not seriously ill, but she had a high fever that wouldn't go down. The first call she received after the fever broke was from the bureau. Because of the fake cremation certificate incident, the bureau was undergoing reforms from top to bottom. The director of the funeral home was dismissed, and considering Zhao Meijing's age and health, the bureau transferred her to another department with the same benefits, but without a leadership position. Zhao Meijing didn't hesitate to express her gratitude to the bureau for considering her, and she promised to report for duty after being discharged. Jiang Yulong listened to the entire phone call when he visited her. He had always wanted to ask Zhao Meijing why she did this. She didn't issue the fake cremation certificate, so couldn't she pretend not to know about it? Even if something went wrong, it wouldn't implicate her. Was it worth offending all her colleagues from top to bottom just to get back at her ex-husband? Zhao Meijing bitterly smiled. This had nothing to do with Lu Wei. There shouldn't be any compromise in this world. If you compromise once, then rules no longer exist. If no one follows the rules, then this world ceases to exist. Jiang Yulong looked at Zhao Meijing. Since that night, when this woman shielded him from his relatives' pressure, to now, they had only known each other for a little over a month. He was certain that Zhao Meijing was the most special woman he had met in his 23 years of life. When Zhao Meijing was discharged, Lu Yaino and Wu Jian came to pick her up. Seeing Wu Jian again, Zhao Meijing didn't say anything, looking more like an acquiescence. Sitting in the back seat of the car, watching the two in the front chatting and laughing, Zhao Meijing remembered what Wang Guifan had said, "Your suffering is your own, and my suffering is mine. We can only bear our own burdens. I can't take yours, and you can't take mine." A tear uncontrollably slid down her cheek, and she thought of that tough old lady. Lu? Lu Yaino's crying voice came through the late-night phone, sending chills down Zhao Meijing's spine. "Where are you? Stay where you are. I'm coming right away." Zhao Meijing rushed out the door before she could even hang up the phone. She didn't know if it was because of getting to know Jiang Yulong, but she had been frequenting hospitals lately. Lu Yaino was at the hospital, and Wu Jian's son was also there. Today was Wu Jian's visiting day, but the food at the restaurant had gone bad, so he had to rush back to check on things, leaving his son with Lu Yaino. Lu Yaino had never taken care of a child before, but she had plenty of experience being one. She took the boy to amusement parks, zoos, and fed him all kinds of snacks that kids loved. However, before dinner time, the boy started vomiting and having diarrhea, nearly becoming dehydrated. In a panic, Lu Yaino rushed him to the hospital. But as soon as Lu Yaino arrived at the hospital, she also started vomiting and having diarrhea. The hospital diagnosed her with food poisoning. However, with the variety of foods they had eaten that day, they had no idea which one caused it. Wu Jian and his ex-wife arrived at the hospital one after another. His ex-wife held their unconscious child, crying and cursing, warning Wu Jian that she would suspend his visitation rights and take him to court if he didn't comply. Wu Jian had no energy to argue with his ex-wife. He first checked on his son's condition with the doctor, then ran around handling his son's hospitalization procedures. Throughout the whole ordeal, Lu Yaino lay curled up on a temporary bed in the emergency room, receiving no attention. Wu Jian passed by her bed twice while running around, and he didn't even glance at her. When Zhao Meijing arrived at the hospital, she saw her daughter lying on a makeshift bed in the hallway, clutching a trash can and vomiting uncontrollably. Zhao Meijing went through the same procedures that Wu Jian had just gone through, and then pushed her daughter into the hospital room. By the time Lu Yaino's condition stabilized, it was already almost dawn. She curled up in her mother's arms, tears streaming down her face in frustration. This sudden poisoning made her finally realize the unsuitability of this relationship. Lu Yaino didn't doubt Wu Jian's love, but previously, she thought she was the only one in his heart. At least she was his top priority. But it turned out she wasn't. She could never be his top priority. She even felt Wu Jian's resentful gaze. If she wasn't her, If she were Wang Guifan or Zhao Meijing, perhaps this relationship could continue and even have a happy ending. But she was Lu Yino, and if she treated relationships the way they treated marriage, then she was not making progress. She didn't need to insist on this forever second-place relationship. Zhao Meijing patted her daughter's back, thinking of Wang Guifan again. It turned out the old lady was so wise. Everyone had to endure their own suffering. She tried her best to protect her daughter, but she could only watch her endure her own suffering. Lu Yino's condition wasn't serious, and she was discharged the next day. Zhao Meijing bought several bags of nutritional supplements and brought them to the pediatric ward. Wu Jian unexpectedly took the heavy plastic bags, feeling somewhat embarrassed as he looked at Zhao Meijing's expressionless face. "Auntie, you've gone to a lot of trouble. Is Yino okay?" Wu Jian stuttered. The bags were heavy, and Zhao Meijing rotated her stiff wrist and shrugged her shoulders before smiling and saying, "Yino has me, so you don't have to worry." Before he could respond, Zhao Meijing threw a punch, hitting the man's face firmly and accurately. Wu Jian was caught off guard and stumbled to the ground. "You wanted a chance to take care of Nono. I gave it to you, but you missed it. Remember, from now on, every time we meet will be a nuisance," Zhao Meijing said as she turned and walked away. "Regardless, it's not right to hit someone." Zhang Yulong sent the mother and daughter home, settled Lu Yino, then pulled Zhao Meijing downstairs, saying they were going to buy groceries, but headed straight to the pharmacy instead. Zhang Yulong sprayed the bruised joints of Zhao Meijing with a topical analgesic spray and gently massaged her fingers to help the medicine absorb. He spoke a sentence while massaging. "I can handle it myself." Zhao Meijing tried to pull her hand back, but Zhang Yulong held on tightly. "With your injuries, your face must hurt a lot from being hit." Zhang Yulong chuckled softly. "Do you want to try?" Zhao Meijing forcefully pulled her hand back, her gaze turning cold as she looked at the man. "Sure." Zhang Yulong smiled and suddenly leaned closer to her face, startling Zhao Meijing, who instinctively stepped back, nearly stumbling. Zhang Yulong grabbed her arm. "I like you. You're different from other women. I want to be with you." Zhao Meijing looked at Zhang Yulong blankly, seemingly not understanding his words at all. Meeting her gaze, Zhang Yulong thought he had received the answer he wanted. He slowly leaned in, but Zhao Meijing pushed him away forcefully. "Are you trying to get me beaten up by your mother too?" Zhao Meijing said sharply. "Your aunt, at her age, doesn't have the time or mood to play children's games with you. Dr. Zhang, thank you for your help these days, but let's not meet again in the future." With that, she turned to leave, but a pair of large hands firmly grabbed her arms, making it difficult for her to move. "I don't mind being less important than your daughter in your heart. If your daughter and I fell into the river together, you would save her first without caring about me," Zhang Yulong said excitedly. "You don't even have to love me, just let me love you, and I'll give you whatever you want. I just want to protect you. You don't have to pretend to be strong anymore. From now on, I'll protect you. I don't need you to protect me." Zhao Meijing slowly pulled her arm back. "Dr. Zhang, perhaps you don't mind my age now, but what about when I'm old and gray? At that time, you'll still be in your prime. Will you still not mind then? Don't be so sure. When you reach my age, you'll understand that nothing in this world is certain." Zhao Meijing clearly underestimated the fighting power of children. From that day on, Zhang Yulong found various reasons to meet Zhao Meijing. To show that they could return to being normal friends, they ate meals together, drank coffee together. Zhao Meijing finally enjoyed the treatment of not having to shell shrimp and being able to drink 2 flavors of coffee at the same time. When her hands were cold, there was a bowl of 4 gentlemen soup, and someone was always worried that she didn't have an umbrella on rainy days. Zhao Meijing never doubted the man's enthusiasm, but with her experience, even the hottest emotions couldn't last long. Wang Guifan had already passed the age of 57, but Zhang Yulong's enthusiasm remained undiminished. Lu Yino had long noticed the efforts of little Zhang Doctor, and she didn't mind her mother finding another small joy. She would even encourage Zhao Meijing, believing that without interaction, they wouldn't know if it was right or wrong. She had always thought she was most suitable for Wu Jian, but reality slapped her in the face. Zhao Meijing didn't bother with the thoughts of children. She still had to deal with burying her parents. Finally, after a month, she came up with a solution. Yesterday, she made her first call to that gentle woman, and for the first time, she brought her to pay respects to her father. The woman looked much younger than Wang Guifin and cried bitterly. Zhao Meijing told her not to worry anymore. She was going to scatter her parents' ashes at sea, and whether they were scattered together or separately, it was up to them to decide. Watching the tearful woman, they should never meet again. After scheduling the sea burial, Zhao Meijing took a week off from work. Living in an inland city, she had rarely seen the sea. The wind on the deck carried a faint, salty taste. Holding 2 biodegradable urns, Zhao Meijing suddenly remembered that this was the first time the 3 of them had watched the sea together. When the ship reached the designated location, the ceremony was solemn and simple. One by one, the people on board lowered the urns into the sea. Zhao Meijing watched as her parents drifted away with the waves. With the vast sky and sea before them, they seemed to be going on a long journey. The knot that had always been in Zhao Meijing's heart was also taken away by them. A tear slid down her cheek. Her father had passed away 10 years ago, and she missed him a little. As they disembarked, a familiar figure stood on the pier. Zhao Meijing had reason to believe that Lu Yaino had betrayed her whereabouts. Jiang Yulong stood on the pier, waving at her from afar, like the rising sun, full of vitality at just one glance. Jiang Yulong was about to speak, but he was caught off guard and his face was held in her hands. The last time Zhao Meijing kissed a man like this was when her daughter turned 1. She kissed him as if embracing the sun, completely ignoring the gaze of those around her. Jiang Yulong was surprised for a moment, then tightly embraced the woman until she pushed him away forcefully. "What's the situation now?" Jiang Yulong's face turned red, his heartbeat racing so fast that he was almost out of breath. Am I allowed?" Zhao Meijing shook her head. "How many years until you graduate?" 5 years. Seeing the woman smiling, Jiang Yulong suddenly spoke with determination. "In 5 years, I will definitely graduate. Give me your phone." Zhao Meijing took Jiang Yulong's phone and deleted her contact information. "What are you doing?" Jiang Yulong panicked. "In 5 years, when you become Dr. Jiang and don't regret it, come find me. But during these 5 years, you can't contact me. Focus on completing your studies. It's too difficult for an ordinary family to raise a doctor. Not only love can't be disappointed in this world, but family affection can't be either. With your father gone, you are the backbone of the family. Don't let them down." Zhao Meijing handed his phone back to him and walked away. Jiang Yulong chased after her. "But what does my academic career have to do with my love life?" Zhao Meijing didn't look at him and continued walking forward. "You're the most idle medical student I've ever met. Who gave you leave when you're already interning?" About that, I will balance my studies and you in the future. Jiang Yulong didn't finish his sentence because Zhao Meijing suddenly stopped in her tracks, staring straight at him. I will really balance them well. If you're sure you love me, will 5 years make you change your mind?" Zhao Meijing said seriously. "If you can't even accept the test of 5 years, how can I believe that when I'm old and gray, while you're still in your prime, you won't abandon me?" Jiang Yulong was speechless, tears almost welling up in his eyes. Zhao Meijing had to stretch her arm to pat his shoulder. "Taking leave is a privilege for us old people. Young man, go back and study hard." Zhao Meijing continued walking forward, hearing the man's shouts behind her. "Can't we have an ambiguous relationship? What about pretending to be ordinary friends? If you have a boyfriend in these 5 years, is that considered cheating?" However, no matter how the man shouted, she never looked back. As the bus started moving, Zhao Meijing saw Jiang Yulong still standing on the pier, waving desperately at her. When young, who didn't love with heart-stopping passion, love that felt like the world was ending. But life experience repeatedly told Zhao Meijing that "I love you" were the least sincere 3 words, representing only fleeting joy, with no relation to the rest of one's life. Jiang Yulong was an outstanding person, and he would slowly come to understand this truth. Her phone buzzed, a WeChat message from Lu Yaino. "Mom, everything went smoothly?" "Smoothly? Are you just brushing grandma off? Your grandma loves lively scenes so much, she'll definitely be satisfied this time. What about you next?" I'm going out for a walk. After all, I've also inherited the estate now. Take care of yourself, and don't contact me if there's anything. You're prioritizing a man over me. Lu Yino sent a crying face emoji. Zhao Meijing chuckled, putting away her phone and looking out the window. Outside the window, it was drizzling. A military truck overtook the bus and sped away. Zhao Meijing suddenly remembered the year when she held a sharp knife in her hand, desperately chasing after a pig, stepping on fresh pig blood, all for a piece of meat, which miraculously led her to break through obstacles.